It started with a brutal clash at the line of actual control. In 2020, soldiers on both sides lost their lives. And today, it's been 4 years since the military standoff. On paper, India and China have completed disengagement. And there have been a series of diplomatic talks. The 19th one took place in New Delhi on Wednesday. There were demands and counter-demands, but both sides showed intention to restore peace at the border. A day later, this happened. Xi Jinping made comments that are making heads scratch in Washington, Taipei and New Delhi. I'll quote some excerpts from his statement. China needs to stay keenly aware of the complicated and challenging circumstances facing national security. I urge officials to be ready to deal with the worst case and most extreme scenarios so that China is able to withstand high winds and waves and even perilous storms. Just observe the choice of words here. High winds, choppy waters, dangerous storms. These are metaphors. And when are they used? They're used for wars, even in manuscripts. He also called for an upgrade of security apparatus, like artificial intelligence security. Modernization of weaponry and security have been a big and visible push by Xi. But now the question is, who is he talking about? Because it's China. One has to bring Taiwan to the conversation. Beijing sees Taiwan as its own. Military drills and violation of airspace have become common, more so since the United States' active interest in the island. So when it comes to Taipei, when it comes to Taiwan, the tensions lay bare on the table. But when it comes to India, the situation is much more discreet. Now, as we told you, talks are going on. But China seems to be on the opinion that while dialogue is on, the preparations for a war should also be on. An analysis of satellite images exclusively provided to Hindustan Times by Planet Labs show the Chinese side has expanded its facilities. They have built new runways, shelters to protect combat jets, and they've constructed buildings for military operations as well. Now, if you compare these images from a year or 2 years ago, it's evident that the deployment has multiplied. And all this is happening when Chinese diplomats are actually in New Delhi to solve differences. So what exactly is happening? The tensions were already high. China's aggression is a topic of discussion in every global meeting that is being held in today's times, be it the NATO meeting in Oslo, the G7 meeting in Hiroshima, or the upcoming G20 summit in New Delhi. These latest comments by Xi Jinping are pouring fuel to fire, and because it is China, nothing can be certain. All right, for more on this, we are being joined by General V.P. Malik, who's a former Indian Army chief. Welcome to the broadcast, sir.
Thank you. Good evening to you.
Sir, Xi Jinping is referring to a threat to China's national security. He's urging officials to prepare for worst case and extreme scenarios. What do you make of these remarks?
Xi Jinping has always been emphasizing on the territorial sovereignty, maritime interest, and protection or stability of the overall peripheral areas. And right from the time he became president, he has found modernization of the PLA and preparing the PLA for a war. These are his pet projects. And he has been speaking about it again and again wherever he goes in the PLA units. Now, one notices that earlier it was more at a strategic level, and the modernization part, in which he included space, cyber, formation of strategic support force, kept on increasing the budget for the PLA. Lately, he has now been talking about preparation for a combat at a short notice and of a large type. In fact, he has in one meeting asked the generals, are you daring to fight? Think of this nature. So there is no doubt that there is much greater rhetoric today that one hears from Xi Jinping. It's not only about Taipei and New Delhi. I think he is also including the coastal areas, the maritime interest that China has developed over the years.
Right.
Now, I believe that we cannot afford to ignore China's belligerence. China believes in despising the enemy strategy. And recent survey which was done in China by somebody, they mentioned that only 8% Chinese like India. The others either don't like it or they ignore it. The other thing that I want to mention as a soldier, China does not believe in giving warning to its adversaries. For China, a war is always based on surprise and deception. This is what happened in 1962, and the same thing happened in 2020. China had got so many formations very close to the line of actual control, and without any notice, they had occupied areas which were not in their occupation earlier. So I expect in future, China will continue to talk with India as they are doing now on border issues, etc. But I don't think they are going to vacate the areas which are now in their part of their territory. I'm talking of Song and I'm talking of Demchok area in which they are occupying that.
Right.
And it will continue to enhance the coercive diplomacy that it is engaging with India. And more important thing is that it will continue to challenge India's sovereignty over J&K, Ladakh, Sikkim, and Arunachal as it has been doing till now.
Right. Thank you for joining in on the broadcast, sir. That was General VP Malik joining us from Panchkula.
May I add one more sentence?
Please, sir. Please go ahead. Yes.
I don't think we should ever rule out a large-scale skirmish with China on the line of actual control, and we should always be prepared for such a contingency. Reading China as we have been doing for some years now.
So India can never rule out the possibility of a conflict with China, and we should always be prepared. Words you're hearing from India's former Army Chief, General VP Malik. Thank you so much for joining in on the broadcast, sir.
Thank you.
Right.